Find me here.
Okay.
CJ can't find me anywhere.
Go over there. Right here, CJ. Now, we're going to talk about trust, and CJ is going to be the truster today. And there's going to be a lot of things that he's going to have to trust.
Stop it.
Kaylin, please leave your brother alone. Come over here. We're gonna do something. All right, now. Who do we trust in life?
God.
Right. Now we know that we can't just trust a stranger, right?
No.
We don't need to take rides from them because we don't know them, right?
You can't trust hobos.
Okay, thank you. But we don't trust just anybody. But we do have trust for people we know are supposed to take care of us, right? So we said God is someone we trust. Who else is someone that we trust to take care of us and keep promises? Mom and Dad. Who else might keep promises to us?
Sister. Me.
Sister.
Friend.
Matthew, friend. That's right. Okay, so
Mother.
we're going to talk about our friend. Who wants to be CJ's best friend for like 30 seconds?
Me.
I think I have a spot for you, Chance.
Yeah.
Will you be CJ's best friend? Okay.
I'll be
All right, move over here.
I can take him.
Move over here. Move over here.
Yes, I go. You can. Guess what?
All right. She's gonna be your. What's your name again? I should know.
Hannah.
Hannah. I'm sorry. I know you. I just don't remember your name. Okay. So Hannah's gonna be your best friend, CJ. So what kind of things do best friends promise, or what do you expect of a best friend?
Like that?
Yeah.
Not
The
finding.
truth. Yeah.
What?
You expect your best friend to have your back. You expect them to help you out, right? All right. So this ball is representing a promise that your best friend has made. Whether
I
they.
think I know which one it is. Is that mine?
Okay. Shh. This ball represents a promise that your best friend made. Like, let's say, I'm always gonna have your. I'm not gonna talk behind your back, CJ. That's a promise that we should expect from a best friend, right? So Hannah's going to take this ball, which is her promise, and I want you to say, CJ, hold out your hands. I'm going to throw the ball right to your hands. Say it loud.
CJ, hold out your hands. I'm gonna throw the ball to your hands.
Okay. I think her aim was a little off. We're going to try it again. So she's made her promise. Okay.
Move her closer.
So it's-
Move her closer.
I can't see that good.
All right, hold out your hand, CJ. You're trusting your friend. Okay, well, she kept her promise. All right, so this is the second day.
She kept her promise.
Hold out your hands again. She's.
3 times.
Uh-oh. Now, Hannah, why would you do that? You're his best friend. You showed yourself faithful one time, but then, man, you just smacked him. Okay, but you know what? Hannah has been such a good friend for all of the 30 seconds that they've been friends, and so CJ's going to give her another chance. Because CJ is very trusting young man. So this time, we're pretending Hannah's a boy right now. And Hannah is not going to steal CJ's girlfriend. You know, your best friend really shouldn't steal your girlfriend.
Does she have one?
Not that I'm aware of, but he'll have to talk to you about that later. So Hannah is not going to steal CJ's girlfriend, okay? So Hannah, tell him to hold out your hands. I'm going to throw this ball right into your hands.
Hold out your hand. I'm gonna throw the ball right into your hands.
Well, she didn't steal your girlfriend today.
Today.
What about tomorrow? You really like that girl? We're pretending here.
They got prettier.
Oh. It wasn't quite right in your hand. So maybe Hannah went on a walk and was holding hands with your girlfriend. So we're going to kind of set Hannah down for a minute because we're not so sure if we can trust her at this moment. All right. So who else? All right. It's CJ's brother's turn.
Uh-oh.
What is something that you would trust your brother to do?
Nothing.
Brothers can be pretty honoring, but when it comes down to it, you expect your brother to have your back, don't you?
Most of the time, no.
Well, you should expect your brother to have your back. So grab the ball and tell CJ, hold out your hands. I'm going to throw the ball right to your hands.
Hold out your hands. I'm gonna throw the ball right into your hand.
I'm scared he's gonna hit me in the face.
Quit screaming.
All right, we're going to try again. All right, get your hands ready, CJ.
His aim is off too.
Boy.
Matthew, how dare you? You broke your promise. Now, Matthew did not have your back at all. Okay, go sit down, Matthew. We're not trusting you. Go on. Go sit down. All right. Who else do we trust? Do we trust our teachers to tell us the truth?
No.
Well, we should. Why don't you come be the teacher, okay? Our teachers tell us that they're going to help us to learn things, and they're going to help us to get good grades, right? So this is the teacher's promise. And tell CJ, hold out your hands.
Hold out your hand.
I'm going to throw it right to your
I
hands.
throw it right to your head.
Oh no, I'm scared. I heard.
Screaming.
I thought I heard
Screaming.
the ball
Oh,
behind me.
Waylon, why would you do that? You're a teacher. You were supposed to teach him, and you broke your promise. Okay, CJ, how are you feeling now that you said you were feeling scared? Why were you feeling scared?
Cause I thought I heard someone walking behind me and he was gonna throw it at the back of my head.
So you're
Are
feeling
you-
pretty
Are you
paranoid.
starting to get a little nervous now?
Yes.
Why are you getting nervous?
Because everyone's throwing it at me.
So, are you having trouble trusting people right now?
Yes.
When you have several people in your life that keep breaking your trust, it kind of starts making you a little bit scared that somebody else is going to break your trust, doesn't it? Yeah. All right. What about your pastor? Your pastor is someone who really, really you should trust, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you should be able to trust him. So, Brendan, I'm going to let you be the pastor.
Pastor Brendan.
Pastor Brendan. So, let's see. Actually, I have a different one for you. Go back. Kaylin, I'm going to let you be the pastor. Pastor Kaylin. So, a pastor might tell you maybe that you're going to get to take up the offering next Sunday, right? Or they're going to pay your way to camp. Sometimes they may give you a promise like that, or they're promised to being a spiritual leader to you, right? So these are some promises that a pastor might make. Kaylin, tell CJ to hold out his hands.
Hold out your hands.
I'm going to throw this ball right to your hands.
I'm going to throw this ball right into your hands.
Oh no.
Oh, my goodness. That one was like way over your head. Okay, Pastor Kaylin, you got to be a better aid. His hands are here. His hands are here, okay? Try that one more time. Oh, man. Oh, man.
Where is it?
It bounced away. Okay, so even sometimes a pastor, did you know that sometimes when people break their promises, it's not, thank you, sir, it's not always on purpose, is it? It's not always on purpose. Sometimes there's a reason. Maybe the pastor couldn't pay your way to camp because they had to use that money for something very important, like to pay a bill.
Or he didn't
Or he forgot, right?
didn't have any money.
Or they didn't have the money to send you to camp. So sometimes it's not even on purpose that people break their promises. But you know what? It still hurts, doesn't it, when people break their promises?
It hurts a lot.
Yeah.
We're going to give Ryan a turn. Come here, Ryan.
I'm gonna throw the ball.
Okay. No. All right, Ryan, who's someone that we trust that we haven't covered? Maybe a grandparent. Like the grandparent says they're going to take you out for candy and after school is over. Right? That's a promise a grandparent could make. So you tell CJ, hold out your hands.
CJ, hold out
I'm going to throw the ball right to your hands.
I'm gonna throw the ball right to your hands.
That's scary.
Oh, he got his foot. That's not his hands.
If I caught it with my foot, would that work?
But he broke his promise. He didn't get it into your hands. So, all right, that's good. So now, one more person that we are supposed to really trust.
Dad.
We're supposed to trust our mom and dads, right? Mom and dads make promises. Yes. Mom and dads make promises to us. And please quit, Kaylin. Thank you. Our mom and dads make promises all the time to us. And sometimes they're able to keep them and sometimes they're not. So Chance, I would like you to be Daddy Chance and Mommy Chancina. You're the parent, okay? And you're going to make a promise to CJ. You're going to tell CJ, if you get good grades, I'm going to give you $5. All right? So CJ's expecting this promise. Okay?
Okay.
All right,
I'm
so
wondering where $5 is now.
so Chance, tell him, hold out your hands. I'm going to throw this ball right to
Hold
your
out your
hands.
hands. I'm gonna put a ball out of your hands.
That's good.
Oh!
Right in the nose. Now, Chance, you are Chance and Chancina. What kind of parent are you? You made CJ a promise. I mean, seriously.
What happened? What happened? Telling us to hit him.
Give away.
Wait, what?
What you did to him?
So listen, though. Listen. A mom and a dad, sometimes they break promises, don't they? They break promises, and they don't always mean to break a promise.
I think it's God's turn now, right?
Listen, they don't always mean to break promises to us, but sometimes things happen. But it still hurts us. It still hurts CJ's nose that Chance broke his promise, even though he might not have meant to hit him in the nose.
Don't
We're not going to speculate on that. So,
It could have been even worse.
so CJ, how have you been feeling with everybody hitting you? Does that make you feel kind of bad, or does it make you feel like you don't want to trust the next person?
It makes me feel like I hurt.
Yeah, it hurts us sometimes when people do not keep their promises to us. So, it is God's turn. You're right, CJ.
I was right.
So, when people have broken their promises to you so many times, is it hard to trust God when He makes a promise?
Yeah. Yes.
Sometimes it can be. Matthew, please go back over here. Sometimes it can be hard even to trust God because we've had people fail us a lot in our lives. So, I'm God, CJ. CJ, be still. I'm God. What kind of God promises does God make us?
Good promises.
The promise.
He makes us good. He makes us promises for joy. He makes us promises that He will supply all of our needs. God makes us promises from the Bible for healing, that we can be healed because Jesus paid for that. So God makes us good promises in His Word. But sometimes we just don't know when they're going to come necessarily. So CJ, do you trust me as God to
I don't know.
fulfill my promise to you?
If you're throwing it at me, I don't think so.
So he's feeling a little bit untrusting even to God because everybody's been throwing these promises and hitting him with them, right? So CJ, I'm promising you that I'm going to supply all of your needs. I have your promise right in my hand, okay?
Okay.
So I'm going to supply your needs. I need you to put out your hands and get ready to receive the promise. So are you ready to receive the promise?
Maybe.
So what did you feel about that? What was that? What do you think?
I feel terrible.
Okay, well, what are your thoughts? I mean, I made you a promise and you just got hit. What do you feel about that?
I feel my thumb hurting.
You feel your thumb hurting. Okay, do you feel like God betrayed you?
Kind of.
Well, guys, did God hit him with the promise?
Yeah.
No, God didn't do it.
Brendan did.
Sometimes when God makes us a promise, hey, please stop. Don't touch, please. When God makes us a promise, sometimes the devil comes in And he hits us with things that make us feel like God has not kept his word to us. But then we blame it on God sometimes because we don't understand that it was the devil that was the one that hit us. It wasn't God. CJ, get back in your position. You're out of position. You're supposed to be holding your hands out.
I'm trusting, waiting.
To receive the promise. What happened to you? What happened to you?
You don't want to get
You got hit in the shoulders.
CJ, why don't you take one step forward, please? Okay. So, sometimes we have to wait for the promises of God, and sometimes the enemy comes in and messes with us. CJ, you're not ready to receive the promise. Your hands are down. What's wrong?
They're up.
Okay. Well, so Habakkuk 2:3 says, "For the vision is yet for an appointed time, and it hastens to the end fulfillment. It will not deceive or disappoint. Though it tarry, wait earnestly for it, because it will surely come. It will not be behind on its appointed day." One version says, "Though it delay, wait for it, because it will not delay." Why would it say it delays and then it will not delay?
for no reason.
No, because God wants us to have the promise at exactly the right time. If your parents promise to buy you a ticket to Disney World, and they promise that you're going in the summer, and you're so excited because you're going to get to go, and it starts warming up, and you're thinking, now, I want to go, it's hot outside, you said in the summer, but you can't go too early because your tickets have a date on them. If you go too early, you won't be able to get in. So you have to go at the exact right time. God knows the exact right time to give you the promises that He's given you. CJ, step forward. God is waiting until the right time when the promise that He has for you will do the most good.
Yes, I fell too. Okay, this is good. This is a different ball.
It is a different ball. You're right. I told you I didn't hit you with the other one. This is the promise I had for you. The other was the devil's promises that you kept getting pelted with. This is a new one. God gives you good things. Now, what happens when... Okay, we're not. You can take off your blindfold now.
All right, that's right.
So, God has promises for you, and sometimes they take a while to get there. But we have to keep believing and not get dissuaded by the devil, not get discouraged when the devil throws things at us that it makes it look like God's not keeping His promise. Because if God said it, He's going to do it. And God has given us some promises, and one thing that is up to you to do is start learning what promises God has given you in the Bible. Because if God has given you those promises, He's going to fulfill them, and we can trust Him. But one thing I want to say, now we've seen the effects on CJ when people were hitting him. He was losing trust, right? Did you realize that when you break promises to those around you, you're doing the same thing to them? You are causing them to lose trust. You're causing them to lose trust in other people, and you're causing them to have trouble trusting God. Because when you're breaking promises, you are causing that person to have less trust in the next person. And if someone else breaks their promise, that next person breaks their promise, then it makes it harder and harder for them to start trusting God when God says, I'm making you a promise.
I was
Okay.
going to buy
Mom, I thought they were actually trying, but then one of them told me, well, you were told me.
So,
I
all
have
right,
to say
guys.
Matthew's hurt the worst.